movable piece. Now, you have to understand movable piece, you have to understand where it came from. That's the thing that's important about movable piece. The reason we have movable piece is this. Level 7 feels big and huge and confusing, and everybody's processing it differently, so it felt impossible. So we did the exact same thing that we always tell you guys to do, which when the step feels too big, break it into smaller steps, right? Yes? Okay. So we broke it into smaller steps and smaller steps and smaller steps, and all the steps were different, and there was very confusing. But anyway, we kept at it until we found movable piece. And movable piece is that idea that when you feel that you're in level 6 and you contemplate just hearing the words, it's all me, not even what it means, not the electrons thing, nothing. It's all me. Something happens in you. Now, for some people, they have a body sensation. For some people, they start to think. For some people, they get afraid. For some people, whatever. You need to know what happens to you when you say, it's all me. Not 50 steps down the road, right away. And then that we can work with to find where the movable part of this big level 7 blockade is. The idea of changing into level 7 feels like a big wall, and we're looking for the brick that's loose. And the place where we have found it most is when people say, what do they feel when they contemplate level 7? Not think about it for an hour, but just in that moment, what's the movable piece for you? What's the movable piece? We're at the time now when if you tell stories about what's going on to explain your world, you're allowing the survival instinct to be in charge. What happens is you have categories within you. Let's just make it easy and call one safe and one danger. Of course, there's a huge number of categories, but we're breaking it down. One safe, one danger, right? So you see something on the internet, or you are driving along in your car and someone does something and you say, is that safe or danger? You've got to put it in a category. Now, the way you put it in a category is to come up with very creative stories about what's actually going on. So the guy in front of you all of a sudden turns his car 90 degrees and stops. It's not, the guy in front of me has turned his car 90 degrees and stopped. It's, that guy's drunk, that guy's inconsiderate, that guy just learned to drive yesterday, that guy just had a heart attack. Whatever story you've got, you use stories that have no basis in facts to find a way to categorize. When you do this, and you're doing it all the time, yeah. When you do this, the survival instinct's in charge. Because all it's doing at a base level is trying to decide safe or danger. And so when you do that, if the survival instinct's in charge, this is in charge. If instead you can simply say, that guy drove his car, he stopped at 90 degrees. And instead of adding on to it, it's kind of like the new version of the but statement, right? Instead of putting the stuff after the but, you stop. The guy drove his car, he turned 90 degrees, he stopped. If you don't make up a story, you can just interact with the fact of that, right? He appears to still be alive. I don't believe I need to act. I will go around him, right? And then you go into your next moment of reality instead of spending a whole day making up stories and telling all your friends and posting on Facebook about the fact that this big, long thing has happened to you that is make-believe in most cases, which when you make up stories, you generate misunderstandings. And you give up on our favorite thing, which is facts, right? Because facts, processed as facts, don't engage the survival instinct in the same way as stories will. Now, let's say the guy drives crazy and crashes into something, right? The survival instinct, hello, it's your turn. Come on, survival instinct. That's why I have you. Help me hit the brakes. Help me have a lot of adrenaline in my body so I can jump out, so I can call 911, so I can drag the guy out of the car if it needs to be, so I can act well. But you notice in all those moments, you probably aren't making up stories because there's a lot of demand on your attention. It's that gray area where there's not clear action needed, but you still are trying to evaluate safe danger. And it's even more interesting to us to say, safe or danger? Safe, and then no story, than it is to tell a story unconsciously plugging it into a safe or dangerous place. Now, the reason why this is so important now is because to go to level 7, we have to start experiencing everything as brand new. And if you have a habit of telling stories about your experiences, where are you going to get those stories from? Your past, right? All the stories come from your past. When you see someone drive weird, you think, oh, he's drunk because I've seen drunk drivers, or I've been drunk myself, or I've driven when I've had too much cold medicine. I know what that looks like, right? You're drawing on your past to identify, navigate, explain your current life, your current moment. And level 7, remember, has always been there. It's not something that's going to magically beam in, right? It's always been there, but you have looked at the vista of your life and seen objects instead of seeing your soul. And one of the reasons you've seen objects is because you tell stories to make yourself safe or to prove you're in danger. Do you understand? Does that make sense? All right. Here's the other part of that same idea. Same thing with labels. All right. We said you got to try. Now, the labels thing's a little more confusing. We understand because, like, you're at the store and you want an orange. You say to someone, I want an orange. You have an agreement that that's called an orange. But if you don't have to say, I want an orange to someone, what happens if you touch a piece of fruit without giving it a name? Then it has the potential to open up a larger description of itself to you that isn't narrowed by, I know what oranges are. Now this one's harder. The stories one, you guys, it's going to fall into the I statements and the but category. Right away, you're just going to be like, oh my God, you're telling stories again. I told a story, you told a story. Oh my God, everybody in the store tells stories all day long. The labels thing is a little harder because to communicate with another person, can you move the chair? Right? That makes sense. But when you're by yourself, try to interact with the objects in your house without assuming you already know everything about them. And that includes without calling them by their names within yourself. So if you say, I need a fork, you don't need to say, I need a fork. You can say, I need you. More interestingly, you can say, I need me. And so if everything, again, this works best if you do it by yourself. I need me, making the bed. I'm putting me on me. It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird linguistically, right? That is understandable. However, we are focused on the energetic, not the linguistics of it. So I need me, and I'm going to put me on me, and I'm going to get more of me, and I'm going to get some more of me, and then I'm going to put me here, and I'm going to open this thing that's me to put me in, you know, like when you're doing the laundry. And just see if you can do it for 3 or 4 minutes a day. Because, again, new neural pathways. And if you are not telling you, showing up as an object, that you already know everything it has to give you, then it has the potential to give you more. That's level 7. Because it's all me involves you not deciding you already know everything about everything. And this is that whole thinking, letting things be more than they've always been.